Welcome back to Real Repairs for Real Customers. This is not a typical work day. We've spent today cleaning out a ditch and cutting up a couple of trees, and now it's raining and we're in the shop, and I thought it was a good time to get something ready for one of my customers. I've got an upholstery shop that has decided to use my services and to sell my services as an upgrade really for their customers. And the end result is they've discovered that they've been able to turn out more work quicker than ever before. For example, they might do an insert in the driver's seat, but now they can offer, while we recolor that, we can get the passenger seat fixed up in the console. And so the customers have a more comprehensive service that they're receiving, and the upholstery shop is adding to their bottom line, and they're very happy about that. So they've also expressed a desire there to recover steering wheels. They're not currently doing a custom steering wheel recovering at the time. So since I knew that they were wanting to head in that direction, I thought, hey, now I know what I can do for them. So it's going to be a very inexpensive sort of a gift for them, but I hope to surprise them with it. What I've done here is made a little holder for the steering wheel. And so I've got a piece of 1x6 and a piece of 4x4. Didn't even cut these to length. They were just as is in the shop here as leftovers. Actually, I've used the 4x4 to jack up a bunch of stuff, so it's kind of rough, but that'll add to the nostalgic of the piece, won't it? So what I've done is attach the 1x6 to the 4x4 with some deck screws, and then I've drilled a 1/2 inch hole in the 4x4 for my bolt that's going to hold the steering wheel. The idea of the 1x6 is to be able to mount this on a table whenever you want to. So this will mount on any work table like this, or let's say the end of a sewing machine table. And then of course when you're finished with it, you can store it elsewhere. So I've got a 7-inch, 1/2 inch bolt, and this will go here like this. I've cut a little spacer out of a conduit. That spacer will go on here, and you can of course use washers wherever you want to, wherever you need to. Then the steering wheel. Then use as many washers as you want to, just to take up as much of the threads that are remaining on the bolts, and then a little wing nut. So the spacer keeps you offset from the table and gives you more room to work on both sides of the steering wheel. Also, I happen to have a 19 wrench, and this really calls for a 3/4, but the 19 works fine, and I had this extra, so I'm going to send it along so you can use that there. And then I've used a little brad nailer to put a piece of heater hose on there so we can store the wrench. So there you go, a nice little jig to recover a steering wheel by. In addition to that, I have another spacer in case you wanted to mount this up, say, in a vise. There might be times when you want to work on the steering wheel in a laid down position. We can do that. By the way, I've added a couple of blocks here so that you can do that right on the table if you like. Just take off the clamps and it'll stand up here, just in case you wanted to work on it in this position. But if you wanted to work on the back side of it in this position, it would be nice to be able to put it in a vise. And that's why I've included the other spacer. So let's just take this apart and show you what that's all about. can just put this cover, and as you can see, that'll allow the steering wheel to sit here. If we wanted to work on it this way, put as many washers as you want to, just to take up some of the thread here. Then your wing nut. Let's go put it in the vise. Okay, so that'll go right here like that. Let's drop down a little bit. There we go. So that way you can work on it here comfortably on the vise, and as opposed to just sitting it on the table, you can actually firm this up a little bit more. You can still get the wrench on, and then you can tighten this. You can even tighten this a little more like that. So it's much firmer than if you were to just set this down on a table, and then you can work with your leather here if you need to. Well, that's about it. It's always nice when you can take some scraps and make something useful out of it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for subscribing if you already have, and hit that bell so you'll be notified when I have future video uploads.